this brings us to 149. Paul Wu and Dustin Elliott. Paul Wu, he's just one of the nicest guys I've ever met in my life, to be honest. He's a great kid. I talked to him today. I asked him, what have you been working on going into this duel? Because he didn't wrestle last season. He was in the wrestling room. I saw him in practice, but he wasn't on the mat for the Bobcats. He said, biggest thing he's been working on is just pushing himself to the limits in practice every single day, focusing on improving inside and outside of the wrestling room. Mainly, though, he just said he's grateful to be back out here on the mat and for the opportunity to represent the Bobcats. So we'll see if he can impose himself or if Dustin Elliott can get it out here today. He had a 14-5 major decision win the 16th of December.
Elliott, a freshman out of Del Mar, Delaware, 7-9 this season, 5-8 in duels. Wu, meanwhile, a redshirt junior out of Wheaton, Illinois.
Dustin Elliott, another one of these freshmen for Bloomsburg. Bloomsburg's interesting. They got a lot of freshmen and they got a lot of grad students. They don't really have a lot of in-between guys that, they can use, but sometimes that's with a small school like Bloomsburg, that's what you got to work with, and it works for a lot of guys. Both wrestlers kind of hand fighting here. Paul Wu really likes that right grip. Tried to snap it down, and he does as he grabs a leg, running up real high, tries to run him over. Elliott with real good balance. Wu trying to trip him, anything he can do to get control, and he'll get it.
Had to work for it.
He definitely had to work for it. Last time I was in the practice room, Greenlee was telling the guys, if you get a single and a guy's jumping and hopping, stop trying to trip him, run him through, run him over. And that's what we saw Paul Wu do.
Wu this season 6-8, 0-2 in duels. Had a tough weekend last time out, lost by decision at Gardner-Webb, lost major decision at Davidson.
He's really working on this armbar here. Can't quite see it in this angle. The referee's looking, though. He's trying to get him to turn over. This is the armbar that we saw work so well in that opening match for the Bobcats and Braden Tennyson that led to the pin. And he's trying to roll him over and kind of get the same situation here. Referee is watching very closely. They're also on the edge here, and that's something to keep in mind. Wu great on back control. Wise move there by Elliott to roll out of bounds.
Just under 20 seconds to go in this first period. Wu's takedown, the only points of the bout thus far. And there's the escape for Elliott to get him on the board.
Wu's another one of these interesting, crafty guys that, may not have a traditional style of wrestling, but a style where, he can impose different looks, different angles. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. Again, like Greenlee said, if you can't trip him, run him over.
He goes for the trip right there and then says
I'm just going to run this guy over. Back to referee's position here. Elliott tries to turn around immediately. They're going to call a caution on that one. Back to neutral. So we'll reset the clock here for both teams. Ohio still with a big 13-0 lead early on in this matchup. Escape point to Elliott here. 3-2 now the score.
This duel started with the pin by Tennyson over Jones, and then a major decision win by Meek over Mundy, and then an 8-4 decision victory for Hermes. And that's where we stand at 13-0 for the Bobcats.
Wu just breaking down his posture, being heavy on top. He's done a great job tonight with his grips. Wrist control, ankle control. That's what led to this over a minute of riding time. Hasn't found a shot yet in the second period, but he's got the second half to do so. Great sprawl there by Elliott. Wu loves that right wrist. Perhaps looking for a tie snap. That would be interesting. Again, back to the hand fighting here. Posting, looking for angles, looking for opportunities. Seems at this point Wu, great double there, turns it into a single. Elliott's got his post, tries for Wu's ankle. Nothing yet. Referee still calling it neutral. Wu's getting lower and lower on the leg. That's going to make it difficult at this angle to complete the takedown. Still neutral here. And see, this is what he's going to run into, being so low on the leg, is Elliott's going to go on top. Looks like they might call it potentially dangerous here. And we're going to have blood time. Can't quite see it from this angle, but looks like Wu might have a little bit of a bloody nose, getting hit with the back boot there of Elliott. The great Hannah for the Ohio Bobcats. She's been here a while, and she does a great job for these wrestlers. I've heard nothing but fantastic things about what she's done with this program. Joined by Coach Greenlee and Cody Walters. As we see Dustin Elliott here. Only down by a point, though he's only got 2 seconds left in this period, so he'll have to come back in the third.
You said it only 2 seconds to go in the period. That we're going to get this all cleaned up, and we'll restart for the blink of an eye, and then we'll head to period 3.
Last time we were in the convo with Wisconsin, it seems like, 3 or 4 duels had blood time. And there were a bunch of guys that had to get wrapped because they just kept bleeding and bleeding. I'm like, that sucks wrestling out of that thing. You can't breathe. Sometimes, depending on who wraps it, you can't see. Coach Greenlee on looks his wrestler Wu here. John Stutzman done a great job with this program. Back to neutral. There goes your 2 seconds.
So we head to period 3. Wu with a 1-point lead. He'll start down. Try to earn that escape point right away.
Yeah, Wu's a guy that's, especially with the close lead like this, he's a guy that, doesn't get comfortable with the lead, and he's a guy that is always going to look for the advantage. Great escape point there by Wu. Nice attempt at a single there from Dustin Elliott. Good job for Dustin to ride heavy on top here, try and snap Wu down. Wu wise to both of these shots, though. Nothing there for him yet. Nice sprawl there by Wu. Turns the corner, gets the headlock, tries to run him around. Almost, but they'll call it the other way. Wu lost his grip around the head, shot too far. Dustin Elliott with a fantastic takedown. That was, wise for him because that happened quick, but he was able to get control quick.
And Elliott now has a lead with under a minute to go.
Elliott with a wide base, tripod position, back on the leg. Wu crawls out with the escape point. And they'll go back to neutral. More blood time. As Hannah Gilman, for the second time tonight, will patch up Paul Wu. Get him some water. Coach Greenlee is asking for. Cody Walters obliges. Tosses him the bottle. John Stutzman has to be happy with Dustin Elliott, the way he's turned this third period around, turned this whole duel around. We got a tie game, tie duel. So we're going to see how this last 30 seconds will go if we go to overtime. Back to this hand fighting that we've seen so much tonight. Overhand grip there depth for both of these wrestlers. We've seen so many snap downs here tonight. Just like that, Dustin Elliott's done a great job at riding heavy on top. Wu's done a great job at maintaining wrist control. Nice double there by Wu. Can he complete it? He's got 6 seconds. As the referee calls it a 3 for Paul Wu, and that'll close out this third period. A Bobcat victory, 8-5.
Wow. Wu comes through with under 5 seconds to go in the bout. He earns his decision.
Talk about clutch. Paul Wu faking with the hand fighting he's done all night, straight to a double leg, locked the arms together and ran him over like we've been highlighting all night. There was nothing Dustin Elliott could do.